Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Jay, there are reports out there currently circulating that Terence Crawford is currently in negotiations for a fight against Chris Eubank Jr. This fight would take place either in the United States or Saudi Arabia. I know there's been a lot of people that follow this channel that believe Saudi Arabia is the key for boxing in terms of making the biggest fights. If this fight is the one that they're making, I would say that belief is not true. Jay, I don't really know what to think about something like this. I'm going to start off with saying that I actually hope that it's not true. We've debated here for the last several weeks that Terence Crawford does not have a lot of viable options at 147, 154. Really, when you think about viable options in terms of fights that people would be interested in seeing him take at 147, you're talking about Jerron Boots Ennis at 54. I think the only commercially viable fight there for him may be Tim Tszyu, and I don't even think that's a big fight, regardless of what Bernie the Boxer tries to sell us, that Tim Tszyu has a whole country behind him. If that was so important, Tim Tszyu would be trying to fight more in his country and not trying to get over here to the United States. So, yeah. I never felt that he had many options, and I've been saying this from, I think, probably somewhere in September, October, that I didn't think he had a whole lot of options outside of Errol Spence in terms of big money fights. We know that Canelo Alvarez has no plans of fighting him because he's trying to get a fight with Munguia on May 4th, and then he's trying to finish his PBC contract with a fight with Jamal in September. So he has no real interest in fighting him. So I'm just surprised that Chris Eubank's name is out there, to be quite honest with you.
Weird.
I don't. We saw Terence Crawford last week or the week before last, I can't recall, at the WBO convention where he talked about, that Keith Thurman and Tim Tszyu would be viable options amongst other fighters. He never did name any of those other fighters, which in my personal opinion was just more so a sign that there's really not a whole lot of options out there for him, or at least not ones that would be interesting. You could easily just say, I'd be interested in fighting this guy or that guy, you know what I'm saying, to whet the appetites of fight fans. But because he didn't mention names, I don't think there's really a whole lot of viable options out there. And now that this is surfaced, whether it's true or not, I mean, sometimes there's some truth to some of these reports in the sense that there may have been some conversations that were had or something like that, and maybe they haven't gone very far or something like that. I'm not sure, but it's currently out there, and quite frankly, I'd be disappointed. This fight is not commercially viable. I don't know how many people are going to be interested in actually seeing it. Maybe it will be something that will be shown on DAZN. Terence Crawford is a free agent at the moment, so maybe it can be shown on DAZN. A lot of people think DAZN is free. It's not. You have to have a subscription to it. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but that pay-per-view that they had with the heavyweights back in December, I think, because I didn't watch it. Yeah, I didn't watch it because I was traveling during the time. I know you were watching it. So I mean, it's not a good fight. If I'm Terence Crawford, and not that I'm in the business of boxing or anything like that, but if I'm Terence Crawford, and this just makes sense to me, I wait for Tim Tszyu. To me, that's a more commercially viable fight than Chris Eubanks Jr. On any day of the week, as far as I'm concerned. Now, we know that Terence Crawford believed that there was opportunity over in England or the UK, but I heard that fights over there are not as profitable because of ticket sales and what they're allowed to actually charge for pay-per-views, and also some tax consequences that occur when you're over there as well. So maybe he just believes that this is a good move financially, and it's not. I have no idea, but this isn't the move here as far as I'm concerned. Jay, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, also regarding the UK, notice a lot of UK fighters are the ones that's going to Saudi. They're the ones, a lot of their fighters are going to Saudi.
That's a fair point.
So, I mean, come on now. But also, it's like, not only that with Chris Eubanks, Bomac trains him as well. Yeah. So, I mean, what's going to make sense in that? Chris Eubanks had arguably one of his better performances under Bomac, although just one performance, but it was a get back, and it's at he fights at 160. So it's what? Bud's going to move up to 160 to fight him. Why not just go ahead and fight one of the guys at the top, like Carlos Adames? Why not just go ahead and fight him? They can't say anything about the measurables because both of those guys are about the same in height and everything. So it'll make more sense to go against Carlos if he really wants, to get a name over there. And to your point, it doesn't make sense as far as Chris Eubank, because no one's asking for that fight. I like him. I really want him to fight Tim Tszyu. Honestly, that was a fight I was like, that's the real guy. I thought he should be fighting. If he wants to, I think he should wait, like you said, for the winner of Tim Tszyu, Thurman, fight the winner. You know, even if it is Thurman, it's gonna make that fight with him and Thurman even better, because it's gonna show, wow, Thurman may still have it. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it won't be for a belt, but it'll be for the money. And we know right now that's what Bud's been talking about, for the money. You know, so I mean, that'll be good. And if Tim wins, then definitely you want to go after Tim. You get a belt and you get money. You know, because Tim beating Thurman, it's going to raise his whole cachet as well. So I mean, that'll make the most sense. I don't like this fight here with Chris Eubank. I don't think it's going to happen, because, like I said, Bomac trains both of them. Chris would be a fool to go to take this fight and be like, okay, I gotta get another trainer, a third trainer in 3 fights. You know, because he had Roy in the prior fight, he got knocked out. Then he trained with Bomac and got a win. You know, so I mean, I don't know if he's still training with Bomac, but it wouldn't make sense for Chris to take this fight. And it's not a big money fight. We know Bud has already said, I want money. Basically, I want the bag for my next fights. This ain't it. And we know he doesn't have too many options. Canelo's not going to fight him. The Spence Jr. rematch has sailed away, you know. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't want him to go out by fighting Chris Eubank right now. I'd rather him wait for the winner of Tim Tszyu and Thurman.
Yeah, I think the other interesting thing about that is, you know, Saudi Arabia, with the situation that occurred with Bomac here in 2023, I would imagine that his ability to travel would be restricted, right? You know, similarly to the situation and the issue that Bill Haney had with going over to Australia, he might be somewhat restricted in that. So I don't think it would be in Saudi Arabia, but that's interesting. And then to your point, the fact that they're both trained by Bomac, I don't know if that relationship would just simply be separate. I don't know. To me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, though it's out there. It doesn't make much sense to me from like Terence Crawford's perspective. Like, I would be surprised if Terence Crawford is moving. I would be surprised if he's moving forward with it, but then at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if he's moving forward with it, because maybe it's a tune-up fight that he's trying to do, similar to what he did with BLK Prime. He wants to stay active, get one or a fight in between before. Because you think about it, man. But no matter how it goes, though, he's gonna be out of the ring for close to a year now. So, man, I just wait for Tim Tszyu, dog.
I mean,
I just wait for Tim.
That's what I would do. Now, I don't know about Bomac, because Bomac wasn't Manchester where he got in trouble. I don't know if that would affect him in going to Saudi.
But
restriction.
Yeah, but Bill Haney got in trouble in the United States, and it affected him going to Australia. They look at criminal records or anything of that nature in other countries. Yeah. So, yeah, I would not be surprised if he's somewhat restricted. So, we'll see. But
he was good last time. I mean, he said he was okay to go back to the UK. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but he said he was okay to go anywhere afterwards. But we'll see.
We'll see. But you guys tell us what you think. Is this the correct move for Terence Crawford? Do you even believe this to be the case? I know probably Terence Crawford fans don't. I'm struggling to believe that this is the case, but we'll see. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and we are out.